Does it mean being born in America is no longer enough to be a citizen anymore? This rule comes from the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution, which clearly states that anyone born in the US is a citizen. Let us watch some clips together. I'll be back for commentaries.
Let me make one thing real clear. This ain't about injunctions. This is about erasing the 14th Amendment with a smile. We thought the courts were supposed to be the last line of defense, the place where liberty stands tall even when presidents go rogue. But on Friday, in a 6-3 decision straight down party lines, the Supreme Court told us, nah, we good. They let Trump sneak his foot in the door to cancel birthright citizenship. And they dressed it up in legal jargon about equity and injunctions. Oh, but don't get distracted. The real target was always your rights, especially if you was born with brown skin, immigrant parents, or ancestors who came here in chains rather than visas. For a second, it looked like the lower courts might hold the line, right? 3 federal judges had already slapped Trump's executive orders down with nationwide injunctions, telling him loud and clear, you can't just rewrite the Constitution because you feel like it. Immigrant groups were celebrating. 22 states stood up in court. Even the appellate courts said, let this play out. Then SCOTUS slid in like a repo man in the night. Instead of ruling on whether Trump's executive order was flat out unconstitutional, which it was, they sidestepped it and went for the technical foul. Universal injunctions go too far. God damn it. Basically, the court said that judges can't stop Trump's policies for everyone, only the people who specifically sued. So now we're playing legal whack-a-mole across 50 states while Trump rushes to implement a policy that directly contradicts 150 years of law. So what's at stake, right? Everything. Let me break this down plain and simple. Trump's executive order says if your parents weren't here legally, or maybe they were here legally but temporarily, you don't deserve citizenship. Are you serious? The 14th Amendment that was passed after the Civil War to make sure that Black folks were considered full human beings says all persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens. It don't say except for immigrants. It don't say only if your parents had papers. It says all persons. A phrase so fucking inclusive. It slapped the face of Dred Scott and every slave master of the fucking Confederacy. So what Trump is really doing here is rewriting Reconstruction. The very laws meant to undo slavery. And the Supreme Court just handed him the pen. You thought Isengard was bad? You thought Voldemort was a problem? Justice Amy Coney Barrett, Trump's handpicked avatar, penned this majority opinion like it was a legal lullaby, with principles of equity, she says, while politely gutting the power of federal courts to stop executive tyranny. And while they didn't officially cancel birthright citizenship yet, make no mistake, they laid the legal groundwork to allow Trump to do it himself. In the dissent, Justice Sonia Sotomayor, she tried to hold the line, calling out how this decision disregards the long history of protection for non-parties. But her voice is now a lonely alarm in a house full of arsonists. This ain't about immigration. This is about control. It's about telling people of color, especially Black, brown, or immigrant babies, that their existence is conditional. That if you ain't got the generational wealth, land deeds, or ancestors off the Mayflower, you're permanently under review. Today is birthright citizenship. Tomorrow is voting rights. Affirmative action, gone. Housing, gone. Education, you got it, gone. When does it stop? In the MAGA cult, oh, they're going to keep smiling in your face, talking about this is what we voted for. This is what the founders wanted. Don't forget, y'all, the founders owned slaves. They're not playing. Trump told you on day one what he was coming for. And this court just gave him the green light to drive through your rights like a bulldozer in a graveyard. So don't wait on the Constitution to bleed before you speak up. Because if birthright citizenship can be reviewed, so can your freedom.
If you are a U.S. citizen who was born in the United States, we need to talk and you need to listen to this video. So tomorrow, April 1st, the Supreme Court will be hearing arguments for Trump versus Barbara, which, if they decide to uphold his executive order, would effectively end birthright citizenship in the United States. It's very important to understand that right now, major media outlets are only focusing on the fact that the administration is trying to target the children of people who immigrate to the United States illegally or on temporary visas, but they are misleading you. They are misleading you because the implications of this Supreme Court case is massive and widespread and will unravel the citizenship of the United States, impacting millions of people. It is very important to understand because, again, the media outlets are not framing it the way they should be, and the fact that if you are a new parent after this order goes into effect, you will have to prove your citizenship in order for your child to receive a citizenship, which means in the United States, babies born after the effect of this executive order will be presumed to be non-citizens unless their parents can prove their citizenship. So it's not a matter of simply, a child of an illegal immigrant, but they're not going to be a citizen. No, you, random person who was born in the United States, has been in the United States all your life, is a U.S. citizen, you will have to prove your citizenship for your child to receive a citizenship. And the thing is, the guidelines that have been issued to the Social Security Administration detail how your birth certificate will not be enough to prove you are a U.S. citizen. And it doesn't just stop there either. The arguments being made by the Trump administration in their briefs, as well as their allies, are arguing to allow for Congress, as well as states, to have more of a discretionary role as it comes to determining people's citizenship. As in, they are going to open the door to start revoking citizenship of people who are born in the United States. Yes. This could be applied retroactively. In fact, this very issue and concern was discussed at a March 10th Senate hearing just at the cusp of the Supreme Court case. I'll run the clip for you.
The impact of this kind of interpretation could affect millions of, if there is retroactive application, which there's nothing in the executive order or anything that the Supreme Court may deem that would say that that this cannot be, this kind of reinterpretation cannot be applied retroactively. So there would be millions of U.S. citizens who could be denied citizenship as a result. Isn't that right?
That's correct. And in fact, the Trump administration, the executive order itself just says this is the interpretation. It's absolutely retroactive. And then it recognizes that in its brief as well.
If you are denied citizenship and if the regime gets its way with the SAVE Act, which would require proof of citizenship in order to vote, does that mean that millions of people in our country who are citizens by virtue of being born in this country would be denied the right to vote?
Yes, they'd be denied all the rights of citizenship, including the right to vote or serve in public office or serve on a jury.
And if you see this video and you're thinking, oh, she's just fear-mongering, she knows what she's talking about. You're wrong. I've been reporting and talking about how they're going to attack and try to end birthright citizenship for the past 5 years on this app. To give you an example of these previous videos, I'll tag some of them below for your reference. Nonetheless, this is a clip, again, from that Senate hearing where they discuss how this can be applied retroactively and also current citizens will have their citizenship scrutinized.
First is the executive purports to interpret what the citizenship clause has always meant. It purports to say it's always meant this. It says it's restoring the original understanding of the citizenship clause. That clause has been on the books since 1868. So all of us would then be subject to scrutiny of our ancestry. And for those who had a parent who was temporarily present, or grandparent or great-grandparent, or who'd violated immigration law, maybe 3 generations in the past, everyone's citizenship would be suspect. And the administration recognizes that. They note that in their brief, and they ask the Supreme Court to apply the law prospectively only, but they recognize they're arguing for an interpretation that would unwind the citizenship of the nation.
Much of the pushback I get on reporting on the attack on birthright citizenship, yes, reporting on it, is that people are thinking way too hard about the application of how they would, apply or start revoking people's citizenship. And they're thinking way too hard on this because, one, there's already precedent. I'll tag the video below I made back in October talking about how in the early 1900s, if you were an American woman, born, bred, raised American woman, and you married a foreign man, you lost your U.S. citizenship. Okay, so that's already one precedent, which, considering the Supreme Court case we saw back in 2024, which the court ruled that you being a U.S. citizen do not have any constitutional right for your foreign-born spouse to be with the United States, You see where this could possibly go? Like, they are going to just try to use all of this to determine who is actually going to be welcomed, who will see citizenship in the United States. Not only that, they can just make people functionally stateless. Whereas, if you cannot prove your citizenship, well, guess what? You can't get a passport, and if they pass the SAVE Act, you can't vote. So not only can you not leave the country, but you cannot exercise your constitutional right of being able to vote. That simple. You are functionally stateless. And to put it in perspective, the Brennan Center for Justice did a survey back in 2024 and found that 21 million Americans do not have access to documents that would prove their citizenship readily available to them. And it gets worse. 3.8 million Americans do not have these documents at all. Which means, if this goes into effect, they are functionally stateless if they cannot prove they are a U.S. citizen. It is that simple. I do not have a call to action. I have videos of steps my family and I are taking to prepare. Watch those videos, don't watch them, completely up to you. I'm also not going to tell you to call your reps because that's not going to do a damn thing. And I'm so sorry, y'all, but it's not. What I will say is to buckle up because this Supreme Court case will unravel the country and likely create a major conflict in the future.
So on day one of Donald Trump's presidency, he issued an executive order. If you are born in the United States and one of your parents is not at least a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, you're not a U.S. citizen. 22 states filed a lawsuit against Donald Trump saying this is illegal. A federal judge agreed and issued a nationwide injunction saying this executive order can't go into effect. And Trump appealed, not whether his ban on birthright citizenship is legal or not. He appealed that a federal judge can't make this nationwide injunction while they're litigating this case out. And the Supreme Court decided with Donald Trump. So they haven't ended birthright citizenship. They didn't make a decision on that. What they have said is, if you are a child born in the United States in one of these 22 states that brought a lawsuit, that injunction continues. You will be considered a U.S. citizen. You will get your benefits as a U.S. citizen, whether it's your birth certificate, your social security number, Medicaid, food stamps, whatever you're entitled to. But if you're a child born in the United States, in any of these other 28 states,
You are welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I am glad you have found this channel. Don't forget to like and click the notification bell respectfully. And as always, credit goes to the original creator of video clips used in this episode. And for disclaimer purpose, these videos are for educational commentaries and is not meant to hate or discriminate anyone. Let us watch more clips together.
I can't believe this is actually happening, but the Supreme Court just agreed to hear President Trump's case on ending birthright citizenship. And this could redefine what it means to be an American citizen. Trump's order, if you remember, says that kids born in the United States to illegal immigrants or short-term visitors shouldn't automatically get citizenship. Now, immediately lawsuits hit, claiming it violates the 14th Amendment, specifically the phrase subject to the jurisdiction thereof. I mean, that's the entire fight, really. Does it mean anyone physically here for 5 minutes or people who actually owe full political allegiance to the United States? Now, for context, the 14th Amendment was written in 1868 to guarantee citizenship to freed slaves, not to answer modern questions about illegal immigration or birth tourism. And the big court case that everyone seems to cite dealt with parents who were here legally and permanently living here, not people who were.
For over 150 years, the rule has been simple. If you are born in America, you are automatically a citizen. That comes from the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution. But now some political leaders, including Donald Trump, pushing to change that. They said people are exploiting the system, traveling to the US just to give birth so their child gets citizenship. They call it birth tourism. And they believe ending this rule would protect the country, reduce immigration loopholes, put American first. But here is where it gets intense. They said removing birthright citizenship could create confusion over who is truly American, leave some children without clear nationality, and completely change the identity of the country. So tell me, do you think being born in a country should guarantee citizenship or not? I want you to react to this video and let me know what you think in the comment section respectfully. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video.